Welcome to Build Day Friday. Today we're going to be reviewing the Transient Gundam from the Build Fighters Try series. Let's start off with talking about color. To me, it seems a little off from the official artwork in the show. And the official artwork in the show had more of a middle gray look to it, I thought, and the model itself, the white parts are pure white. The purple also seems a little darker than the official artwork. Other than that, all the colors go together well. There's not going to be any necessary painting here, but there will be a slight painting, and it's even suggested in the manual, as the area down here on the torso, in between these two armor plates, is supposed to be gray. On the model itself, it's just pure white. The blue parts look good, and the only stickers besides the eyes are reflective foils to go underneath those clear parts on the model, which is about standard in most models with clear parts on them. Okay, this suit is also seen as an Exia variant, as in the manual it states that the main gunpla material is the Exia. So there are similarities mainly in the chest and the arms, and that's about the only similarities you'll find. But there are improvements on them. So let's start with looking at the articulation on the arm. As you would expect on most anything related to the Exia, you have these extra armor layer parts. And the way those work on this one are a bit different. So you have your standard universal polycap ball joint inside of there. But the arm and this piece here are sort of separate. So you can see there you have your standard polycap and it is able to swivel out. Now this armor piece here is attached to the gray piece where the ball joint is, and the arm itself is on a pegged polycap. So it does it a little bit different from the older Exia models where this part just kind of sat on the gray part. Now it actually slides in there and is hooked in there, so it's nice and sturdy and won't slip off. So with the arm, you do get a little up and down movement, and the shoulder's also on its own swivel, so it can go a little up and down. As far as the lower arm, you get a full double bend, so you get great articulation out of that. The hands are in your usual ball joint, but you only have this slanting position for holding the spears. There is no standard open fist here. The legs are on your universal joint, so they can swing out pretty far. They can come forward pretty far, but they do get stopped by the armor, so you're about a 90-degree to the body. And then the knees bend a little past 90-degree, but the knees don't have outstanding articulation and to me feel a little bit clunky compared to some other models. The feet are on your standard ball joint, so those move around, swivel everywhere. The front armor flap can move up and down, and the feet are hinged on both sides, so they fold out like that and then fold back down. Your head is on the standard double ball joint, so it gets a good range of motion, but it feels a little loose and bounces around because underneath is a big square hole there. So it could fit there a little tighter. And with that standard ball joint there, it makes the head seem more like it's on a toothpick than firmly in place and to the right proportion that it should be. Other than that, everything on here is great. Now, if you look at the back, you get a little bit of articulation on the backpack. The two side parts can move around as they're on ball joints, and the blue parts can also swivel down. The bottom part here is on a hook joint, so it can swivel up and down as you like. The last bit of articulation is on the spears, which they can easily open up into that firing position. They can also be separated, both of them, into the two different parts. As far as hands, you get the two hands that can hold the spears and have that thumbs up on them. You also get two closed fist hands and one open grasping hand. But you don't get any standard just open hands. So if you want to use any other weapons with this guy, you're going to need to bring in your own hands from those other models. Let's look quick at customization. So everything on here works pretty much universally, so there's not much to worry about. With this extra arm thing though, it's nice as in you can leave in this bit of armor and you can have a stick arm, an older model peg jointed arm come in. Or you can take off this part and then that opens it up for the more universal ball joint arms to be placed on it. As far as modding on the back goes, it's quite a unique situation. So you have the two standard double pegs, which works with almost any backpack. The problem is this comes out over that, and therefore you have trouble putting anything on there without running into that issue. So while its backpack, using the universal double peg, can be placed on almost any suit with the proper connection ports, not any suit's other backpack can be placed on this one with fear of this hanging over it. So if you were to mod this, you would have to either cut this off or extend the connector outwards to avoid that little hiccup. So other than the hands, there's nothing really extra in this kit that you'll have to store away. But there is something that you can do with your extra parts for other models. There's actually an opening cut into the lower arms here that can fit a couple beam effect parts. So if you have the rectangular flat beam effect part, you will be able to fit that in there nicely and give it some beam swords. But it did not come with its own parts for that, so you're going to have to use another part and probably not have it look as nice being green with all that blue. So at the end of it, this suit's a nice easy build. Everything flies together really fast. It's not overly complicated and doesn't take a long time to build. I think it does look pretty great, but at the end of the day, I was kind of underwhelmed by it. It just did not have that pop that the artwork or the show gave it. But at the end of the day, it looks great. It does what it's supposed to do. So if you're a fan of the Transient Gundam, this is a must-buy, and it'll just be smooth sailing as you're putting it together. It does come with its own clear blue stand, kind of like the Gundam G-Portant came with its own clear green stand. So if you're a fan of the way it looks, I recommend it as a buy. It flies together great. The only downside I see to it is the head being kind of wobbly, the legs bending, not being very articulated at the knee. And the other downside I would say is not being able to put different backpacks on it, but that's only if you're someone who's a kit basher. Does that come in as a problem? So yeah, the one other thing that this kit has going for it, for those fans that are Exia, is you will see the small cut in there that is standard on probably every Exia. I've only built one. It is the right size for the connection ports to fit in there. However, it does not go very deep, and the armor on this side is fairly thick. So it won't clamp over the arm as it normally does, but that port can hold it, and I was able to fit in the Exia Dark Matter's GN sword on there. So it works all right. So yeah, if you were looking forward to this suit, then it shouldn't disappoint you, and it is a great buy, so I recommend it for people. I hope this review was helpful. Let me know how I can improve in the comments. Like and subscribe for more, and join me later this month for the G-Self Assault Pack and the Kate Sith. Hope the review helped. Have a great one, guys. Robot rock.